Okay, so hi everyone. We are having to do this pre-recorded video because typically, just my luck, I don't know about your luck, but I normally have bad luck, but Instagram is down, so we are going to get through as many questions as we can, and we've tried to note them all down, but we will be putting a new date in to do a live Q&A so that you guys can ask more questions at the time and hopefully figure out some answers for you that are a little bit more on point. But we're going to go through some now. I think I'm going to start with some questions that I had.
Yep.
So this is, by the way, the baby guru, and you do you want to explain a little bit about what you do?
I work with sort of families and parents who are struggling with routine, feeding, weaning, sleeping, and anything from newborns up to about 3 years old. And I can answer any of your questions and do my best. And if I can't answer them now, I will. I'll take if I can't get through all these, we'll do an Instagram post next week and try and get through all the answers, and then I'll come back certainly and do a live whenever Instagram's back up and running.
What a nightmare. Okay, so I have been breastfeeding, trying my hardest to breastfeed.
You've done really well.
Thank you. But you know, having my own time as well is obviously needed, and I can't express enough to keep him through like a whole day or a whole night. So I've had to put him on bottle, and obviously he just prefers the bottle so much more. Is it something I should be, firstly, or I feel guilty about stopping breastfeeding, but is it going to affect him that badly if I, you know, put him purely on formula milk? You know, I know breastfeeding, they say breast is best, and I do really enjoy breastfeeding, so
yeah, he won't come to any harm, and he'll grow as he was going to grow, whether you're breast or bottle feed.
Probably at a quicker rate.
They tend to get a bit porky. Yeah, no, not really. No, they don't. But you know, you do what's best, and if you're enjoying breastfeeding, just breastfeed when he wants to.
Yeah.
You know, if he uses you for comfort and cuddles for breastfeeding, that's fine. That's okay, and then he'll get the rest of what he needs from the bottle. And
yeah, because he really loves to feed throughout the night on my boob.
Yeah.
So if I just keep that going,
absolutely brilliant. And because at night you're resting, it's quiet, there's no distraction. It's normal for breastfed babies anyway to feed more at night. So he's just doing what he would do naturally anyway. Okay. But in the day he's having some formula. That's absolutely fine. Okay. You know, you do what's right for both of you.
Okay, good. Yeah. And you know, his routine is all over the place, but that's probably because my routine is probably all over the place. I like to go out and carry on with my day and bring him with me. You know, obviously I'm not taking him to inappropriate places, but you know, coffees and times out, and you know, he's sleeping in the car and then he's sleeping in the buggy, and that means that his nighttime routine can't be on schedule. You know, I can't get home and put him to bed at 7 o'clock at night because I might not be home till 7:30. You know, on a random day, and if he goes to bed too early, he wakes up a lot more during the night. If he goes to bed too late, he does get quite ratty. You know, if I can get him into bed between 7 and 9 o'clock, which is normally the time he gets quite tired, is it the best thing to wake him up at 11 to get him a good feed to sort of carry him through the rest of the night so that I'm waking up?
So there's no right or wrong answer with that. I would say certainly before 3 months to sort of keep them on a bit of a schedule for feeding and to wake them around. It's called a dream feed if they're asleep and you wake them. But generally between 8 and 12 weeks, babies are sort of doing longer stretches. Okay. So I would say if he's gone down around about 9 o'clock, to wake him up when he's in his deepest sleep is quite hard. You know, it's for him. He's not asking for food, he's trying to sleep. So I would say now he's the age he is, it's not necessary to wake him, and to just see how long he'll go, and he'll start getting longer stretches, and you'll know how long he can go then. But if it works for you and him to wake him, that's great. But if you're asking me, does he need it? No, he doesn't. He can start to go longer stretches now. So I'd leave him and get to bed yourself.
Yeah. It's difficult sometimes to wind down at that time and go to sleep. And throughout the day, obviously, sometimes he could sleep for like 3-4 hours. Do you just let them sleep? Like if they need to sleep, do you let them sleep, or is it best to?
If you're asking for a better night, I would say wake him regularly for feeds and keep him on to a 3-4 hourly schedule.
Even at 3 months now, even though he's gone to that stage.
Yeah. I'd sort of only say that it's a matter of maths. Babies need so much milk in 24 hours, and if he's having if he's having huge long sleeps in the day, he's going to be up more at night. And
Okay.
if you want him to sleep more at night, then keep him on a little schedule in the day. I'm not talking a Gina Ford. I'm not talking about being strict. I'm talking about just looking at the time, thinking, oh, you've been asleep 3 hours. Let me see if you'll wake up now.
Yeah.
And then you'll get a better night. So
you're saying 2 to 3 hours? I can give him 3 hours.
yeah. I mean, he needs roughly 4 to 5 hours sleep in the day still.
Okay.
But so I try and stagger that throughout the day
Yeah.
rather than one long stretch. Otherwise, he'll be awake for a long time later and get ratty,
Okay.
and then they don't sleep so well. So as long as he gets sort of, I would say, does he have probably 4 naps a day now?
Oh yeah, probably roughly about 4 naps.
Yeah, 4 naps, and that's right for his age. And one of them can be a really long one, and the other ones can be sort of just cat naps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that all I had to ask you? Yeah. I think so. I mean, there was another question I was going to ask you. Is 4 months weaning? You know, if they're I'm convinced he's teething. Like really convinced he's teething. He's chewing his hand. He's dribbling. You know, I put his finger in my mouth and he kind of chomps instead of sucks now. You know, he's kind of doing a little bit of both. He's 3 months. Like, is that possible? Can he be teething?
Can he be? He could be teething, but that's also that dribbling and hands in the mouth is all part of his development as well.
So now he's showing me signs he wants to start eating food?
Not necessarily, no. Usually, I mean, the general guidelines are that they can sit up and hold their head up, which is near as 6 months.
Yeah.
And so that if they're sitting up, they can digest their food properly. And he really doesn't. I mean, the earliest they say is about 17 to 20 weeks, and that would be under a sort of a medical advice. So I wouldn't start weaning yet. I'd wait a bit longer, but the hands in the mouth and the dribbling is more a developmental stage. That he's learning, he's found his mouth, he's found his hands.
Okay.
That's more that than actually being hungry.
Oh, he's getting all grown up. Okay, cool. Well, should we do some questions?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You guys have obviously sent in some questions and we have noted down some of them to try and get through as many as possible. We will give it our best shot. Okay, so Bao1 asks, best way to introduce a routine for a 3-month-old? Just seems to cry and cry and cry.
So it's sort of learning their cues for sleep, and generally at about 3 months they can be awake about an hour and a half, and then they're getting tired. So it's about being aware of their cues so that you're not pushing them too long and thinking, if I keep you up, then you're going to sleep longer, because that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So watching for those cues and getting them down for a sleep, whether they go down asleep on their own or whether they need rocking or feeding to sleep. But generally they're on a feed sleep sort of schedule, and they're awake for a little while and then they need another sleep. So it's about keeping them, not letting them get overtired.
Because that is a nightmare.
Yeah. If they're overtired, then they don't sleep and they can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's about not letting them get overtired. So bringing that sleep on, whether it's in the buggy or the sling or feeding or rocking, or if they can go to sleep on their own. Keeping feeds roughly 3 to 4 hours. But if they're breastfeeding, they might feed every 2 hours. They're all on different schedules, but it's about keeping things regular. Introducing a bedtime routine from about 3 months is really good. So that nice warm bath, that quiet, keeping the lights low, keeping the TV a bit quieter so that they can sort of go off to sleep more comfortably, rather than it being all wheels and bells sort of going on, everything going on around them. They don't switch off so easily. And also having that little bath in the evening, that warming up in the bath and then cooling down has been proven that it helps you drift off to sleep.
Okay.
Just like for us, it's the same for them. So using that as a cue for them that bedtime's coming is really good.
Okay.
And also having a little routine that nap's coming as well. So just a sort of nappy change. If they're going into their cribs or cots, putting them in a sleeping bag if you're using one. It just gives them those cues that sleep is coming. And then you get into that little pattern of, okay, I know what's happening now. And I know that they've been awake an hour and a half, so they're ready for sleep now.
I use this little like this little sheet thing, and you put it and it makes a noise, and I've used that every time I put him to bed to sort of try and make him understand, like, when you hear this is now bedtime. Is that a good?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Those little sleep cues are really good. Taking them to their sort of room, or your room if they're in your room, closing the curtains, maybe a little story, that's really good as well.
Okay.
So all those things are good. Yeah.
Cool, perfect. Underscore Katie Harvey asks, how can she get her 3-month-old to sleep longer at night?
Right, okay, so I don't know what routines he's in, which is, you know, when I help people, I like to see the whole 24, 48 hours, so I know what's really going on. Babies around 3 months can do a longer stretch, but if they're breastfeeding, they might not be able to. So it depends whether he's breast or bottle feeding or she, or their little one. But generally, if they learn to go to sleep on their own, they do sleep for longer, because if they come awake after a sleep cycle, and they've not been helped to go to sleep the first time, they know how to go back to sleep. And if they're not hungry, they can sort of settle back down to sleep again. But I wouldn't expect a 3-month-old to sleep all night at all. They're going to need between 2 and 3 feeds a night. So
could you try and sort of get them off to sleep, and before they've fallen asleep, put them down? Would that help them to, or would you not recommend to do that?
So if you were asking for some sleep training help, I'd say if you can help them go to sleep in their basket or their crib or wherever they're sleeping, if you're doing some shushing and patting, just so that they learn to go down drowsy but not fast asleep. And then you can build on that slowly until they're falling asleep on their own. It's a really good habit to get them into.
Okay, cool. It's Chloe XOX says, how can she get her 6-month-old to sleep longer and she wakes up 3 times in the night? Does it change as they get older? Is there different ways to help babies get to sleep as they get older?
So generally, if they're around 6 months and you've started weaning and they're on 3 little meals a day, so by 6-7 months they're on 3 little meals a day, and they're feeding well in the day, they should, if they've got nothing else, no medical problems going on, be able to go for longer stretches at night. So it's about making sure they're eating well in the day, they're self-settling themselves at bedtime, then they're generally able to go longer at night. If you're ready to at 6 months, putting them into their own room, that often helps as well, because you're not disturbing them and they're not disturbing you. And also by then, if they're in a big cot, they're rolling around and they need that space to sort of move around, and then they do sleep much better.
Okay, cool. Mary Ellis _96 says, her 10-month-old son bites anything in his way. Oh God.
Oh dear.
How could you stop this?
Well, I don't know about stopping it. Trying to distract them is probably due to teething, and his gums are a bit sore. If you can, you know, if you've ever got toothache, you just was So it's if you're using any medication, if you're using any of the gels or the liquids or the the little sort of teething powders are good, and giving him something to bite on and chew on is really good. The teething things you can get, you pop in the fridge and they're cold. They're good.
So at that age, is it possible for them to be being naughty and be biting?
It's not. No, it's not about them. They don't know they're doing it because it's hurting them. So distract them. Give them a toy to hold that they can bite on, and sort of play with them, as you know, sort of distract them with play when they're going to do it, rather than you're not going to tell them off. They don't know they're being naughty. It's not about that at all. Yeah.
Cool. Charlotte _Kinraid asks, her 8-week-old won't take a bottle or dummy, but uses the boob to fall asleep. How can she break this habit?
So what you could try is using the boob first, and then while they're sort of drifting off, is try and slip the dummy in and sort of hold them like they had the dummy. So sort of hold them,
hold the dummy in with your boobs.
So that they're sort of, okay, I'm still sucking. Or you can put your finger in there, a clean sort of finger, and get them to start sucking, get them off the breast on the finger, or as I say with the dummy, and try that way. And just also introducing it when they're awake and happy, if you want them to take a dummy, that is. So that they're sort of, it's not they're getting used to it when they're happy and awake.
And do you think when they've accepted the dummy, they will accept the bottle tea? Would that be sort of the next?
What I would, I do a 5-day program for getting them over to a bottle. If you want to switch them over or introduce one, and it takes about 48 hours to get them over to a bottle, and then you sort of then you start putting the breastfeeding back in. So if anybody's interested in that, there is a 5-day program. But just using a bottle every single day at the same time with warm expressed milk, and doing it when they're not over hungry and overtired. So just even if they just take 10 mils every day and building on that really slowly, but doing it every day as routine.
So if they're just in a good mood, just get the bottle out and try it then.
And just try just 10 mils, 10 mils of warm expressed milk is what they like. And just every single day, keep trying. If they're fussing in your arms, try them in their little chair so that you're not holding them, so that they're not trying to root at you, but they're sort of distracted maybe with something's going on. And just keep trying.
Cool. Jenny Teddy asks, how many times should you resettle your baby before giving up? I suppose that's a big one, isn't it? Because everyone always feels like, there is a point where you just have to say no. That's it now.
Of course. But if you were doing serious sleep training, if you were really trying to do it, then you just keep going.
Yeah, of course.
But if you were just, what I would say is if you keep putting them down and they keep waking them up, when you put them down, keep your hands on them. So you can just sort of just gently keep your hands on them, and then slowly bring your hands up. And if they sort of start to wiggle, put your hands back down. Yeah. So it's about little steps, slowly, putting them down.
Just sort of pat their chest a little bit, and
just a little shush like that, and just keep your voice calm and quiet. And then if they start to fuss, put your hands back, lift them up. And if they really start to cry again, pick them up, calm them down, put them down again. There's
also that thing that people say, because sometimes your baby might be erratic and you're going, oh, come on now, and you're kind of being a little bit, waking them up without realising. I suppose just no interaction really other than just shushing really and patting, and that's it.
Very calm and quiet. Yeah. But don't, under 3 months they're still so little. They're all over the place, and then you get the 4 months sleep regression, and really after 4 months is when you can start being a little bit sort of more constructive with some sleep training. Yeah. But until then, it's about being really gentle.
Okay. Yeah. And the last one I've got written down is Holly Heath 97 says her baby screams between 7 and 10 p.m. every night and will only settle if they go out.
Oh dear.
Oh good. That sounds horrendous.
It does. And how old is the baby?
Did they say? No, they didn't say. No.
So I mean, I would say if your baby's still quite small, it's not unusual, and it might be a touch of sort of colic going on, a bit of an uncomfortable belly, and it's quite normal at that time of the night for it to be that way. Maybe try the sling, maybe turn the lights down and the telly down, or put some music on quietly so things are a bit calmer. And it will pass. The stage will pass.
I suppose there's a lot of things we've spoken about today that she could try. Yeah. With the bath time and that,
That's right. Try the bath.
What she's doing.
And also, make sure the little one's not overtired at that time of night. It might be that actually he or she wants to be in the quiet, and not sort of being out in the lounge in the bright lights and things like that. Okay. They're asking to go to bed, basically. It might be that, but it might be that it's early days and that this is normal as well. Yeah. Okay. So
cool. Yeah. Should we see if there's any other little questions here?
Yeah, I've written some down. So a 9-month-old needs help to self-soothe when going to sleep and wakes up early. So if your little one sort of is over 4 months and you're helping them go to sleep by rocking, by feeding, by sleeping, waiting till they fall asleep, then when they wake up from their sleep cycles, which happens, they're going to want that support to go back to sleep. So helping them initially fall asleep with some sleep coaching can really help, and that can be gentle. It doesn't need to be, there's no way you're just leaving them to cry, but sort of helping them so that they can do that means that when they wake up in the night or early, they can go back to sleep on their own.
That's probably another big one everyone probably asks. Should I leave my baby to cry? And if so, how long for? Yeah.
Yeah, I know you don't leave babies to cry.
Especially if they're under a certain age, isn't it?
Under 4 months completely, you're always going to go to them. And even over 4 months, you're going to go to them every couple of minutes and reassure them or calm them down, and then sort of walk away again and go backwards and forwards. And you never leave them for long at all. As I say, a couple of minutes is the longest you're going to leave them.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. So if Archie's in bed at night, sometimes I'll hear the monitor go off, because my monitor doesn't go off straight away, it only goes off if a certain level of noise is made. So if he's just cooing and chatting,
he's fine.
Do you just leave them?
Absolutely. If he was having a little moan even, but as soon as it starts to go up, you go in. Okay. So you know your baby, and you know whether if he's having a little grunt around, that he'll go off. If not, no, you go into them, and if normally they do a feed, you feed them.
Yeah.
But sometimes when they're learning to stretch at night, they wake up, he might have a little chat and then drift back off to sleep, and you think, oh, thanks, you've just woken me. Yeah. And then an hour later he does wake up.
Yeah.
But letting them do that little wiggle and go back to sleep is really good, because they're self-settling and they're learning to stretch their night. Okay. So that's good.
Cool, let's see if there's another question here.
So there was a 2-month-old settles but wakes within minutes of going down and will only sleep on me or in the pram. So I would say that's quite normal at 2 months. So what I would do is try at that age is to put them down, not fast asleep, but really relaxed and drowsy, and just keep your hands on them really gently. And as I was saying, the gentle shushing and patting, and being with them. So when they come awake, you go back, it's okay, I'm still here. Mummy's not gone far away. And just lots of reassurance, and that's normal at that age. Yeah.
So when Archie was 2 months, which wasn't that long ago, if he was asleep on me, I used to think, oh my God, right, I'll just sort of nestle into the sofa, and I'm going to have a little nap now too, because I don't want to wake him up. So I suppose that's that. But I did get used to, right now he's asleep, I'll put him down, or he's a little bit tired, I'll put him down in his little play gym so he can try and wear himself out a little bit. So.
Yeah, so if you're happy, sort of having a sleep with them, that's fine. But if you want to sort of get them into better habits, just putting them down every few days, a little bit more awake, a little bit less asleep, so that they begin to go down more and more drowsy rather than fast asleep. Yeah, and then you can build on that slowly.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. There's another one.
So there was one here, Archie's now 14 months old and will not sleep in his own room. What can I do? So he's getting used to that space. So if he's not happy in there, maybe you get him used to being in there to sleep, and you go and sleep in there. So put a mattress on the floor. You can put a blow-up mattress or a single mattress in there and sleep in there with him for a while, so that he gets used to his space. Have some playtime in there, get him used to his cot. So when he's awake, put some favourite toys in there and play in there and have a fun time in there, rather than it always being a battle. What you don't want is their bedroom being a battle. So having a story in there, getting changed in there, and getting used to the room, and then maybe sleep in there as well. So, and then start to come out of the room.
Because I suppose it is quite scary for a baby, because by that age they sort of really know a lot, don't they? Definitely. So when you leave them in a room, I suppose they're not used to, and suddenly mum disappears all of a sudden, I suppose that's a really daunting thing for.
And if they've been co-sleeping for a long time, and you want them to then go into their own room, the way of doing that is to do really gradual retreats and sleep. Sort of coaching gradually. So you'd lie on the bed next, you sort of, or if you've got a chair, or you sit on the bed next to them until they go to sleep for a few nights. And then you start moving away and away, and you do it really slowly and gradually. So you build their trust that they're happy in a good place, and that you're always going to come back, and that's really important.
Good, okay. Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything that we've been asked so far anyway. Again, we're really sorry that Instagram is down. We will make another date. Because I'm sure there's lots of more questions, and we've had a few other little things we wanted to do today, so we will get around to doing that again. But thank you for listening, guys, and thank you for coming to chat. I'm sure that will help lots of mums out there.
But also, go on to, when the Instagram's back up, go on to either yours or my Instagram.
So Sam's Instagram is the Baby Guru Official, and yes, you also have an app, don't you?
I do. I have a sleep coaching app. It's called the Baby Guru Sleep Coaching app, and it's on both Android and iOS. And it's only $1.99, and it's packed full of top tips and routine and feeding, and it gives you real-time help if you are considering doing some sleep coaching from 4 months. And there's 2 methods on there. There's 4 to 6 months and 6 months plus.
I have had a little look at the app, and it is very good. Yes.
And it's not about leaving them to cry. I want to reassure parents it's not about that.
You've got all that on there, haven't you? Because you rate how bad the cry is, and then it sort of gives you an option of what to do next.
Go in, absolutely reassure them.
So it's very good. So if you are having lots of trouble, and today, you've given it a go and it's not working, you can always download your app, and that's a really good help. So thanks for listening, guys, and I will be posting soon on my Instagram about the next date. Bye.
Bye.